So last night on Hannity, Mr. Trump sat for an interview for the whole program. Not much new stuff, and I'll explain why in a moment. There's a reason. The former president basically was annoyed, as he has been for years, about his circumstance, particularly the investigations of him. Roll the tape.
It's a new way of cheating on elections. It's called election interference. What they're doing is, if they can't win at the ballot box, because I'm leading everybody by a lot in the polls, for every Republican, frankly, and every Democrat by a lot, including Biden by a lot, and they can't beat you that way, they're going to do this kind of stuff.
Okay, so there were two things on the record in the Hannity interview. Number one, Donald Trump said he never had any social relationship with Stormy Daniels. And number two, that he would not have bailed out the Silicon Valley Bank to the tune of $20 billion taxpayer money. Now, President Biden doesn't care about that. He is the wildest, most irresponsible spender in the nation's history by far. By far. And he just writes the checks, orders the money to go out, and of course our debt rises and rises and rises, and that hurts our economy. And that's the truth. There is not two sides to that story. The data is the data. But let's get back to Donald Trump. So in my conversations with him, I suggested, after he asked, that he might want to run as a statesman this time around, because he has a record of 4 years. He might want to emulate Winston Churchill. We've gone over this before. Churchill was booted out after World War II as PM of Great Britain. He won a few years later by basically running as, look, I know what I'm doing. Okay? So I suggest that Donald Trump might adapt some of that. He is not going to do that. He's not going to do it. All right? It was clear last night that Donald Trump is going to run his campaign on grievance. Okay? Now, this is very, very interesting. This is a decision he is making. Just like the decision to sit for an interview with Sean Hannity, where Donald Trump filibustered the entire interview. Though he didn't give Hannity a chance to get into asking follow-up questions. And he would ask a question, and Trump would do 5 minutes on it. All over the place. Now, this is not unusual for a politician, but I'll tell you inside stuff. When I interviewed Barack Obama, who was very good at doing that, by the way, and Donald Trump, and I interviewed Obama 3 times, Trump about 30 times, I would tell him before the interview, if you filibuster, with all due respect, of course, I'm going to have to come in and interrupt you. And I'll do it as long as I have to do it to get the answers to my questions. I would say those words to those presidents, because I knew if I didn't, that whatever I asked, the president or the politician, whatever it may be, would just answer what they wanted for 6-7 minutes. And that's what happened last night. Now, Donald Trump does that, and Barack Obama did that for a particular reason. You control the interview that way. So you basically ignore what the question is and answer what you want to answer. And Donald Trump has mastered that. It's a very hard interview. Interestingly enough, when I went out on the tour, the history tour with him, he didn't do any of that. None of it. He answered every question I had. There wasn't one question he dodged. And he answered it in a pithy way. Wasn't any of this all over the place. But for a politician, it is shrewd to control the interview. You don't let a wise guy like O'Reilly make you look bad or ask you questions you don't want to answer. Okay? That is a calculation. The other calculation, as I said, is Donald Trump is going to run on grievance. He believes that most Americans, at least the majority that would put him back into office, are angry at a variety of things. And he's going to tap into that anger and say, I'm the only one who can avenge this, who can stop this madness. And we do have a lot of things to be angry about, let's be honest, in this country. We do. It's harder and harder and harder for working people to have what they deserve. which is a stable economy, a nice place to live, and a safe neighborhood. It's hard to have that now in many places in this country. And Trump's going to come in and say, I'm going to give it back to you. And only I can do it. That's what he's going to run on. But here's the ironic kicker. Running on grievance is the same thing that the people who exploit African Americans do. The African American culture in this country is based on grievance. We are not treated fairly. We never have been treated fairly. We are discriminated against based on skin color. Grievance, grievance, grievance. And it works. The chairman of the Fed is promising more pain ahead. Last year, stocks dropped a whopping 20%. 2023 could be worse. You are right to be worried. So call the only precious metal dealer I trust, American Hartford Gold. They will show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. Since I've been a client and spokesperson, the price of gold has appreciated more than 35%. So please call today and they'll have physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or put inside your IRA or 401k. They have thousands of satisfied customers and have the highest rating in the country with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Please tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you, and they will give you up to $5,000 of free silver on your first order. Please call 866-501-5201. That's 866-501-5201 or text BILL to 65532. Again, that's 866-501-5201 or text BILL to 65532. Thank you for watching the No Spin News. To watch the full episode anytime on BillO'Reilly.com, please sign up to become a premium or concierge member. Visit BillO'Reilly.com to sign up and start watching today.